Hello everybody, how are we all doing? Yeah, how's everybody doing? We've got a cool video today. Welcome to my welcome to the latest video. Yeah, we've got a cool video today. The Sekhtar robots, the new Sekhtar robots that for 1,000 Suns. The Games Workshop obviously sent me out a set to review, build up for you, and then also, hopefully you've already seen it, a diorama which I did on Warhammer Community of an inquisitor trying to gain some information and sneaking up on one that was guarding a portal. So I set myself the challenge of trying to, within the confines of the kit itself, trying to improve the look of the robots, because, and I'm just really picky with stuff like this, but the proportions and the kind of the balance of these, in my opinion, were just looked a little bit off. And I was quite excited because when we were talking on my Twitch stream a while ago, but before these came out, and I was trying to kind of decide, like, if they do more units or models for Thousand Suns and World Eaters and Emperor's Children and Death Guard and things like that, what would they be? And I was thinking like the automatas for Thousand Suns, but and then they come out with these, and I was like, obviously you've got these ones in your head, in your mind's eye, these really kind of stocky, cool looking automatas from this is the Thousand Suns for the Horus Heresy, and these look really cool. And then for some reason they turn that sort of image and that robot and that silhouette into these ones, and I'm not entirely sure where these ones have come from, because surely the I don't know, surely the robots from the Horus Heresy have kind of been corrupted by chaos, and they are still iconically those. They're not building new robots. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but and these ones are just a little bit top heavy, a little bit spindly. I'm not a big fan of the flamer mounted onto the shoulder, so I set myself a challenge of trying to kind of break down what it was about these which I didn't like and what the proportions were that I didn't like. So I thought, well, they're too thin and therefore they're too tall, so we need to somehow make them wider. Well, we can make the legs wider by kind of spreading out the legs a little bit, and we can also make the shoulders a bit wider by packing out the shoulders and seeing what that looked like. And then the flamer, well, that's an easy job. We just put it on an arm, so hopefully there's a spare arm in the kit, and there is, because there's 3 weapon options. So you can either have the claw, the melter, or the flamer. But you always have the flamer, so you're basically swapping between the melter and the fist when you're doing the build. So you'll always have one of these spare, which is great. So, and I'm sure you've already seen it, this is the one I came up with. So this is where we ended up. The paint job is incredibly quick. I did it for the diorama, so it still needs quite a few highlights on the gold. But the silhouette and everything, I think, actually kind of works quite well. So I'm going to go through how I achieved that today, what kind of little tweaks you need. It's all mostly contained within the kit. There's a little bit of, if you look here, there's a little bit of plasticard in there to bulk out the shoulders and spread the shoulders slightly further apart. This is contained in the kit. That is just the, if you're using the fist on this side, then you can use the melter from the other side and use that, etc. So it's just a little bit of coordination between the 2 sides of the sprue, if you like. So this is the size of the sprue. This side builds this one, this side builds this one. So what you're going to do is, if you're using the fist on this side, you're going to use the melter from the other side, and then if you use the fist from this side, you're going to use a melter from that side, kind of thing. So you're kind of swapping over between the sides and making use of all the parts. I don't know whether I like the melter or the fist more. I'm going to probably do 2 fist, 2 melter on the 4 that I build from the box, but we'll see. So yeah, let's get all these parts cut out, and we'll show you how we make that model. Okay, let's go. Right, we've got all the parts all cleaned up now. And what we're going to do, and we're going to build part of the model up. So we're going to do like sub-assembly up to here. We're not going to put these two shoulder pads on. We can put the front on, we can put this bit on if you want. I'd probably leave that off. We're not going to put the legs on, and then obviously we're not going to put this shoulder gun on either, or the cable to the back of it. So that's where we want to get to. We want to get to the body built, so that we can this little yellow bit here. That is actually the shape of the part that we're going to make. To sit in there, and then we're also going to drill through there to make these to make the hips just a little bit wider as well. So that's what we're going to do now. Let's just get all that built up. Okay, so we've got all the parts kind of sub-assembled up. Now, there's a few little bits that we need to do to kind of prep what we're going to do. The first bit, if you look down here, we're going to take just that ball off. So just come up to the ball on either side and slice that. Same on this side. Take that ball off there, and then again just slice that off. Like that. It's quite good actually, because there's now a center hole, which is going to be really useful for what we're going to do. We're going to drill all the way through that, and then put a peg through for the legs to sit on, so just to make these hips a little bit wider, because that's one of the things that we want to do. We want to try and make these hips and try and make this whole robot just a little bit wider, so it's not quite so tall and skinny. So making the hips wider, and then flare out the legs a fraction. And then the next bit we're going to do, you can see this here, the shape of this join onto the shoulder pad. What we're going to do is we're going to make a little pad, and we've cut some plastic card here. This is it's just a sheet of plastic card which I went off and just cut up. I don't know how thick it is actually. In fact, hang on one sec. We've got just have a quick look here. So we've got, there we go, so it's just over 2mm plastic card, so two and a half, something like that. So that's the plastic card we're using, 2mm plastic card. Turn that back off again. And what we're going to do is very, very simply just tidy up, manipulate and shape this to the right size. So you can see we're already a little bit too wide, so we can just remove a little bit of the width of it, and just tweak this until we get it the right. So that's about the right width. Now we've got to take off this top corner, so we'll take that off like that. So that's sitting in there about right. We are now still a little bit too tall. You can see there when we put it on, it's still a little bit too tall. So if we remove the top side of it as well, just sneak up on these. It's one of those things of measure twice, cut once, or at least guesstimate twice. And cut once. So that's going to fit in there like that. That's looking pretty spot on in terms of where it's going to fit. It's probably still a little bit too long. I shouldn't be removing too much of that because we've got to file it down as well to keep the shape. There we go. Okay, so now if we grab our files, this is where you're going to end up with cramp in your fingers. I always get cramp in my fingers when I'm doing this. So we've got to hold this here, and then we're just going to very, 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 very slowly chamfer off, and you can use the fingertip as well just to hold the file in place. Just going to chamfer off this a little bit. The motion of the file might look a little bit weird, but this is the the way to get a nice smooth curve when you're filing. If you do it like this, you get lots of flats, whereas if you do that, you get that nice curve. There we go, and then just show it up again and see how close we've got. Not bad, not bad. There we go. So we're getting there. We can have a look at it from the top, see how close we've got. We're still a little bit deep, so let's remove the back side of it, because that front side was pretty good shape. And then if you have a look at the actual body, there's a little cutout just down there, so we're also going to try and just pop that little cutout in. We'll probably do it with the clippers, just because it takes no time at all with clippers. There we go. And there we are. So that's our little extension for the shoulders, which should be rather good. So we're going to do another one of those exactly the same, and it's really easy. Once you've done one, what I've done is I've got lots and lots of these little squares already cut out. So what I can do is I can just kind of put these on top, trim it all down to the same size, and then I've got those these bits done for all 4 models then. So let's do one more of those, and in fact I'll while we're away as well, I'll do the rest for the rest of the models as well, and then we'll carry on building the model. Right, I've got and you can see the rest of them here as well. I've got 6 made, and the 2 obviously for this one. So I've got 8 done now. These are the 2. I tended to, once I kind of got them close, I've been holding them together like this, and then just filing them at the same time so that they've got the same contours, so that they sort of match. I mean, they get it's a tiny bit, so it's not going to matter that much in terms of matching. But then all we're going to do is we're going to drop them on there, get a little bit of glue, and slide the glue on the inside there like that to hold them. So that's one on there, and we've got a nice contour line here so that we know how to match it up, and we've got a backstop as well, so we can just slide these parts up against the backstop, glue them in down here like this, like that. There we go. So drop the glue behind, let the capillary action pull the glue around, and then there's the second one done. So that now, just make sure visually they are level as well. That is the wider shoulders, and then because we've followed the contour of that, when we actually put the shoulders on here, they sit and kind of click in quite well. So that's where the new shoulders are going to sit, just that little bit further out. And then again, when you're gluing and lining these up, just make sure you glue one on, glue the second one on, and then you can match the angles sideways here, match the angles that way, just in case there's a little bit of leeway. So that's the shoulders. Let's get this shoulder glued on as well, and then we'll turn our attention to the legs. This bit is the critical one, so you're putting that on there like that, and then you're making sure that these are the same height and they line up in the same way. You can use the tops of the shoulders here. You've also got this little, just show you here, you've got this little tick out here, which is supposed to sit on the inside of that, so I'll just make sure that that looks like it's going to line up, and it's literally just been kind of pushed out like that. And then just check around and make sure that these are, that one's leaning back a bit too far, so square it up a fraction. They look They look the same height on there like that. Move these out of the way so you can see a bit more. They look the same height. Maybe this one's a little bit higher. Drop that one down a fraction. And still falling back. There we go. You can see the angle here as well. Make sure it's there. We go. And then once we've done that, in my opinion now looks far better. It's giving it a little bit more width up at the top. It's not going to be quite so kind of spindly and thin, and just seems to kind of give it a little bit more weight visually to these cool little robots. Then one more thing we can do here while we're here is we can just glue that head on. Drop some glue on there because it's difficult to get underneath for that. And there we go. Head sits on there quite well as well. There. Right, let's do the legs. Okay, so the legs, what we want to do with the legs, again, if we put the legs on here, they're very, very thin. Just everything looks thin. So what I've done is, you can see here, I've just extended the hips. So what we're going to do is drill through here, and in fact if we drill through this side we've already got a little center hole. So we're going to pick a size drill which is going to go through nice and easily, and get the wow stick out. If you want to pick up a wow stick, you can go down into my description and check the affiliate link, the Amazon affiliate link for a wow stick, and then straight through there and straight through the other side. There we go. So we've got the center of both like that. And then what we're going to do is use a 2mm drill. Right, let's take an educated guess at where these need to be cut, and we're going to make it the same on either side. That should do. And then the same on this side. And then once we, there we go. Now the plan, because we're going to go and make these quite wide, what we need to do is just bend the leg in a fraction so that this still lays flat. Doesn't need to be much. Don't put too much pressure on, otherwise you will just snap the leg. But just put a tiny little fractional curve. You don't see it in the finished model look, but just put a tiny little bend in that bottom side, so that once we've scaled, once we've beveled out or angled out these legs, the bottom of the rock still sits flat on the base like that. Okay. All right. Get those glued on as well. Right, so I've let that sit for a little while. We've twisted this one in a little bit, which is why we've got the lack of gap on that side, and then we've rotated this one out so you can see the inside there. But that's given us a bit more of a stance, which I like. So that's looking cool. We're just going to glue that into there now. So sorry, I'll just put the glue on the right side so I'm not reaching over the camera. So if we put some glue in there, that should then be able to take that nicely. There we go. Push that in there. So then we've got the loincloth in there as well. Sorry, it's just pushing out. There we go. So that's got that in. And then we can also, if we want to, drop the arm in here as well. So we're going to put a little bit of glue on the inside of that as well. Hold this on, and then because this foot is forward, I'm going to make sure that this arm is back, just to give him a bit of balance. That's there like that. So then that is going to look pretty cool sitting there like that. So the last thing that we need to do, which is the hardest part, and it's the one the one I've left till the end for a reason. Let me just get my clippers back out again, my lovely little god hands. It was a birthday present for me by one of my Twitch viewers. Thank you very much, Hannah. So if we clip this off here, they are fantastic. There's an affiliate link in the description if you want to pick up a pair of these. So if we clip that off there, and then we want to clip this off as well. So this is the arm which we're going to use. We're going to use the top of the arm here, and then make this part here just kind of merge into that gun. So we can just remove this bit because we don't need that bit. And then we want to start removing these bits nice and slowly, because what we want is something that we can work with in terms of making it fit into. And I did this one very, very quickly. As you can see, it's not quite neat. It's not quite like neatly done, and it's definitely not particularly neatly done on that side. So what we want to try to do is chamfer this down so that we're going to try and do it as much as we can on here. Ultimately, these kind of things, and I've kind of changed my approach to little conversions like this in the past, I don't know, year, and it's almost like if I can get it close and get it in there and painted, unless it's for Golden Demon, then I don't mind. Like, as long as I can get the execution kind of close to looking good and neat and tidy and like it fits, then I don't mind too much. And I probably still try a little bit too hard to keep it neat and tidy, if you like. And again, we can just kind of file and make sure these bits are round. And then what we're going to do in here is file a notch into that, which we can then open up so that it's a round notch, so that that can then slot in there. Now I might, one thing I did on this one is that I took the notch all the way through. I might on this one, I was going to say I might just see if I can notch this side so it's kind of slots in at the back. I'm not sure whether that's worth it. Let's see if we can. So if we can take that off to about there like that, and then we can drill into there and then open it up. So give me a second, I'm just going to come back with some drills. Okay, I'm just going to get this hole in here. It's one of the things with the WoW stick, it's a little plastic collet, so it doesn't grip particularly well, but it grips fine for the vast majority of things. Okay, so if that's there like that, what we can do, hopefully, is open this up to just like this half, like that, and then maybe just file that away on this side, or cut it away on this side. I'm pushing against my finger, which is fine because there's a big bit of plastic here to stop it going through my finger. Always kind of plan how you're going to cut stuff. So I'm wondering whether we can hide that in there. That might work quite well. So just to kind of open that up a little bit in there. Okay, alright, I'm going to carry on doing this, opening it up. I'm trying to find the best way for you guys to do this little conversion and have it look as best as possible. This could also be done if you hadn't glued these together, and then you could, because originally I was going to drill all the way through that and just file it, which we might still end up doing anyway. But until then, In fact, it's not going to work, is it? Because it needs to be in the centre. So scratch that idea. Okay, let's go and extend this. So that it can fit this in there like that. So that's pretty close already. What we need to do is remove the little ridges on the side of that like that. Get rid of those, file them flat, and then that should fit somewhere close to being in there. Right, so here we go, all sorted. This now slots nicely in there. We've got a little bit of filing dust left over on the part, which will completely vanish once we go like that. Add some glue on there and then drop that in there like that. So that is now our new, just make sure it's sort of in the centre of the arm that way as well. That is our new little flamer arm for the Sekhtar robots. So glue on this side. This is why I suggest not doing that drilled hole, so just cutting in, because then you don't have that gap on that side. If you want to drop some putty in, well no, I'm going to drop some putty in there before I paint it, but you guys won't need to because you have learnt from my mistake. And yeah, just add a little bit of glue on the back as well, just to kind of hold it even further, and then that will slot very nicely into here. And he's looking this way, he's got this this leg forward, so he's going to be shooting that way as well. So we're going to glue that on there, and that's going to be awesome. Right, so nice drop of glue into that join. And try not to touch the flamer too much. And there we go. There is your finished Sekhtar robot. Rotated around, flamer shooting out to the side, and then we've got this one here as well, which is looking slightly further forward. Flamer down, fist up. So this one, again, it's one of those things of, I don't know why Games Workshop don't learn that unposable, boring, flat models just look dull. It's like when they did the Redemptor Dreadnought. Like, add a bit of like variety and some ability to make it how you want. Yeah, there we go. That is how you do the Sekhtar robots. One last tiny little thing. There is a little flamer tube which comes out of the back of the model here and plugs in to the bottom of the flamer there. So what all you do with this, you can see I've already kind of started bending it. You just kind of bend it so that it fits. It needs stretching out. I'm sure you can all do that without my guidance, and then it looks like that. Gets close, it's absolutely fine. Yeah, there we go, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you appreciate my time trying to get this video out for you. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know if you try this as well, and please tag me on Instagram if you do try this little conversion. You do have enough arms, so don't worry about that. You do have enough arms depending on whether you go melter or fist. You do have enough arms to be able to do this, so there are 4 arms spare once you finish building whichever way you want to go. So there are 4 arms spare for the 4 robots across the 2 sprues, and then you can do this. The next ones I think I might do melter and flamer, so I will be using the arms from the arm from the fist weapon, and then that will obviously put the flamer on this side, which should look really, really cool. But yeah, that's the plan, and yeah, thank you very much, everybody. Take care, hope you enjoy the video again, and catch me online. It's twitch.tv/Chris Frossin, and obviously you can tag me on Instagram. Again, it's just at Chris Frossin. I'm dead easy to find, just type my name in, you can find me anywhere. Blue Sky, I'm on Blue Sky quite a bit more than Twitter now, and no, I'm not calling it X. So yeah, thank you very much, everybody. Take care. Drop me a like, drop me a subscribe, drop me a comment down below on whether you like this or not, and how you would do it differently if you were going to try yourself. Thanks very much, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.